All right, we're streaming into the group. Got it. Okay, let's check up on comments. Loved it. Best year I've had. It's been so hard. Struggled a lot finding and booking clients. 10 out of 10. Really good. Need some tweaks with focus. Okay, so if you see here, we are all over the place, which is perfect. Now, cheat codes is a little different because I'm bearing it all. I'm giving you the behind the scenes look. I'm giving you numbers. It's really, really fun for me because I haven't been able to share in this type of way before. But I have found that when I watch others share and I get the real look and not just the social media highlight, it's really helpful. Best year financially, a blissful year, ending at the happiest I've been in years. Oh, I love that. This is so good. Okay, so wherever you are, I want you to take this, think of this as like a documentary on Netflix or something. Instead of me giving you a framework saying, do this, I'm just going to show you what we have done, what has worked, what has not worked. Today is all strategy, tomorrow's mindset. And it does go hand in hand. So let's dig into the presentation because we know that I will ramble if not. Best year financially, that's amazing. Okay. Can I get a thumbs up if you guys can see my screen? Amazing. All right, welcome to Cheat Codes Day 1. I'm Kiera Jones. If you guys aren't familiar, pretty sure everybody in here knows me. If not, welcome. We're in for a fun day. Yep, we can see it. Okay, so let's dig into the why. Why is this important? Why should we go back through our year? So I'm basically showing you what we did for us, and I want you, as we go along today, I want you to do this for your own business, okay? So reflection and celebration are the catalysts to more abundance. So we know that we cannot attract more abundance, more money, more clients, more joy, more bliss without being grateful for what we already have. Have you ever caught yourself in that trap of, oh, I want more clients, I want more money, like, why haven't I gotten enough? Why am I not there yet? And then it's almost like a smack in the face of, like, wait a minute. Of course, the universe is not going to deliver us more when we're not sitting in gratitude for what we have. So, when we do things like cheat codes, when we do an end of year reflection, it gives us time to look at it from a strategic point of view of like what worked, what didn't work. And then tomorrow is more of our mindset gratitude of, holy crap, I did all of this. Even though sometimes it feels like we may be really, really high, it's good to get our like reflection magnifying glass out to see what didn't work so that we can tweak prior to 2024. So this is going to be a really good foundation building stage for 2024, 2025, whatever you're planning for. So it's important for me to normalize the behind the scenes that goes into the actual work part of running a multi six figure studio. So full disclosure, I have 2 parts of my brand. So, we're set up legally as, like, the Kiera Jezek artistry brand, so it's all funneled into one, but I am not trying to be a seven-figure studio. It's not something I desire. I don't want to be working at the studio shooting physical photography clients that many days a week for myself. If that is your dream, that's perfect. I don't want associates for myself. So it's important for me to recognize like what did I do this year that worked that would help further my dream and further my path to the separate areas of my brand. Just show of hands, do any of you feel like you are expanding your brand? Do you feel like you have more than photography eventually that is on your radar? Okay, I see some hands. Me, yes, yes. Show of hands, how many of you used to be so addicted to the fact that like or who is like so in their power right now with photography that you're like, I'm a photographer. This is what I do. This is how I impact people. There's no right or wrong answer. If that's you, that's amazing. I remember the day that me too, so many plans past photography. Yes. So about 4 years ago, my mom is an intuitive. She's a Reiki master, a tarot healer, whatever. She does all the woo-woo things. That's where I get it. She was like, "You're made for more. You're gonna do so much more than photography." And I was like, "Excuse me, ma'am. Do not say that." I was like, "I am a boudoir photographer. That is my power." And I look flash forward 4 years now, and I'm like, oh, wow, okay, we are doing so much more. The ripple effect is so much deeper. So, what it's important to recognize right now before we even dive in, 2023, are you feeling the push to expand your brand? Are you feeling the call to dig deeper? Or are you feeling the call to go deeper into your photography? So you can answer in the comments, just let me know. Is this something that you've ever thought about? Is this something that is close to your heart? Ooh, we have got lots of chat. I'm pulling it up. Please, I forgot to tell you, if this is your first workshop, interact with us in the chats. This is how I cater it to you. I love, okay, both. Can your mom do readings in the group? Yes. So sometimes if you guys are in the behind the scenes group, instead of a weekly training, I just hire her to come in and do readings one week. And it's really fun. And she's amazing. So you all get free readings in there. It's great. I've been there. It's been a couple years. It's been trying to go bigger. Felicia, yes. She's one of the ones. She is doing an amazing business budget course right now. You guys should all be in it. It's incredible. My lawyer counted 18 phases total. Both. I need that energy. Both. Go deeper into coaching and boudoir. Definitely pulled into expansion, expanding my brand. Got to pay attention to BTS now. She will be actually with me in Indiana in 2 weeks for Christmas, so we could do like a joint thing that week. That could be fun. Anyways, so expanding into who you want to be, because we see a lot in the Facebook groups of like, oh, I had $1 million year and I have 6 associates, and that's perfect. But that is not the brand I'm trying to build. So when you're reading these groups, when you're reading these highlights and these numbers, I just invite you to consider like, but is that the story that I want for me? So I'm going to show you right now. We're sitting at, as of last night, 620,000 for year to date for our brand. Thank you. I'm super excited. And it's split almost evenly. So the studio's at about 319, and then coaching is at about like 308 or something like that. And I am prepping for another 7-figure month this month. So the goal is 700,000. So there is just your behind the scenes breakdown. I'm focusing in cheat codes on the boudoir portion. So numbers, schedules, things like that. We're going to speak specifically on boudoir. Thank you guys. And part of me was like, ooh, this feels a little stretchy to share. But like, I made a Facebook post last night. I want to go first so you guys can see that it's possible too. Again, I mean, this is why we share, to show you what's possible. So there's a little reflection. There's some numbers. Thank you. Starting move into doing more, still feeling into that. I see your Instagram stories all the time, and I am loving your interconnected woman healing, like all of the retreats and things. I'm like, she's gonna go big. I could feel that. I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. So all of you, I see you, I watch you, I'm cheering you on. Thank you guys. Thank you. So I'm here to make an impact, normalize big money in our industry while doing it our own way. Most of the time, that looks like changing and pivoting. So 2023 was a freaking massive year for change at the studio. Today, like I said, day one, we're going to go strategy, everything physical and strategic outside of the mindset. Some of the topics that we covered today, I will go into the mindset portion of that tomorrow. First thing I did is I lowered my pricing, and everybody's going to be like, what? That's insane. What's going on? So backstory, last year, our minimum investment for the studio was $4,800. So you could not have a session for less than $4,800. That was my lowest collection. And it worked great for 2022. I made that change in 2022. And then in April of this year, I went back. And I'll kind of explain the story because this is really important. And this was a catalyst to our growth. So most people, when you hear that, oh my gosh, they lowered their pricing, they're going to be like, oh, your business was failing. Like, nobody's buying because of the economy, which is not true. We've made more money in our studio this year than we ever have. 319 was our highest. We've had ebbs and flows. This was our 4th year being over 300,000 in just studio revenue, and then massively over as a brand as a whole. So what happened is I'm free-spirited, I'm wild, I'm intuitive, but I also have that nerdy edge. Are there any of the, like, nerdy, geeky, love the numbers, love the strategy people in here? Because that stuff just gets me going. I love the analytics. Yes, yes. Okay, good. Give me all the math. Perfect. So I really just like to consider myself my own breed of like, give me the weird, funky, like, I don't have a marketing calendar because I would like not pay attention to it. But also, I'm going to study buyer behavior and I'm going to watch what worked and what didn't work. And that's what we did. So, yes, Def Dorky vibes. I'm the biggest, like, weird, geeky person I know. Caleb jokes, he's like, you are such like a dominant badass babe, but if they only knew you in real life at home, I'm like, they love that version of me too. Okay. Like we love the dork. Buyer behavior. So what we noticed is significantly people were more hesitant to buy. Have we experienced that? Have we felt that energy of there were less inquiries as a whole? Because boudoir is not as new as what it used to be. We as an industry have done a pretty good job of recognizing that it's a luxury experience now. Very rarely do we get any people reaching out thinking that they could get in for a couple of $100. Like we have done the pre-education, at least the people in my audience, we've built the luxury experience up. So yay for us. I truly believe we've raised as an industry as a whole the value of boudoir photography. Therefore, people were a little more hesitant. So when I was pre-educating my group, and the minimum was 4,800, significantly the inquiries dropped. I was still shooting a lot. The reason we did this is because I was trying to build the coaching portion of the brand. So this is something that you guys who are expanding into other things might want to consider. How much time do you want to be coach or do you want to be shooting while you're trying to build up your other portion of your brand? Because for me, last year was a lot of like boots on the ground hustle. I don't mean hustle in the negative way, but it took a lot of effort to build up the coaching brand, to build up the mentoring, to get your name out there. And I physically didn't have enough time to shoot like I used to. I was doing freebie master classes, I was doing in person events. So it made sense strategically to up the investment for Boudoir because that's a well oiled machine. It could run itself. I was also breastfeeding Cecilia and she was attached to me 24/7. Last month, I weaned her. We went 29 months. Hallelujah. I feel like a new woman. I feel like I have my freedom back. So that was another big change. So this just goes to show, thank you, your life events. You have to recognize what part of your business are you in. So where are you guys right now in your shoot phase? So last year, I didn't have the time to shoot that I wanted to. So we increased the investment. This year, my child was weaned. My mentoring business exploded. Like the visibility was there. I was running masterminds and courses, and we had a flow. I physically had more time to shoot. So I was able to lower my investment and serve more people. I gave myself a break last year to where I missed the studio. I had burnout and I was busy. This year, missed it, was ready to go back, wanted to serve more people. So where are you guys in terms of timeliness for your shooting? Are you in that let's shoot some more, let's grind, let's do it? And when I say hustle and grind, obviously in a healthy way, not in a bad way. I'm not afraid of hustling. It's how we built our business. I'm trying to get new eyes on my business in a new location, drop my minimum investment to get more butts and seats, and we'll focus on the upsell. But I'm only shooting 3 days a week. I love this. Okay, that's exactly what we did. So lowered our minimum to get more people in the door. And I'm only shooting 2 days a week now. I'll get into that too. I only shoot 1 day a week because I homeschool my daughter. I would love to shoot more. So recognizing where are you at? Do we need to shoot more? Do we need to shoot less? Are we good? So what happened is we lowered our minimum, but I actually increased my average and made more money because I shifted my collections. Last year and for the last, I don't know, 3 years, you could get all of your digitals for 4,800. And I felt really confident in that. This year, we dropped our minimum to 1,500, but you couldn't get all of your digitals until 6,950. So 6,950 is where you get all of them now. So by doing this, I was able to launch a giant model call that said, holy shit, Kiara lowered her prices. You can get into the studio for this amount. And in return, it increased our average. I think our average is now 5,600. I have to run, we had a $15,000 sale in October, which skewed things a little bit. So I have to go look. But lowered because buyer behavior had changed. People were a little more hesitant. So instead of saying, you got to pay $5,000 to get into the studio, we said, no, you can come in, you can dip your toe in, you can test the water, and it's only 1,500. When you position it against that bigger number, that 1,500 feels so much more inviting. And in return, I'm an upsell queen. You guys are upsell queens. You can still make more money on the back end. It's just getting them in the door. And the 1,500 was a collection that didn't exist. It's a 3-image folio. It's basically a mini session. And it gave them the ability to build trust. It gave me the ability to serve more clients. We had 3 clients this year who did not upgrade from the 1,500. Okay, so there were 3 clients that I did shoot for 1,500. I shoot for 20 minutes. It's 2 outfits. That way they have a little bit of variety. And then I don't send them on a lunch break. I do an immediate reveal. So I am home within 90 minutes. So for me, my kid was breastfed, or my kid was weaned. She was having fun with her dad. I didn't feel guilty for being away. That was a little mindset thing. I was willing to shoot more. I was willing to serve more clients. All right, let's look. I feel that I only do a minimum of 10 shoots a month because I have my son most days and want to work on other parts of my brand. Exactly. Rebranded the studio recently, can take more clients, would love more. I typically shoot about 1 to 3. That's exactly what I did. Lowered my minimum, raised the rest. You're the upsell queen. And I truly think there has been like this unspoken word of like, don't lower your prices, don't go back and change, like stay strong, push through, like you're worth it. Yes, we're worth it, but I also want to make money and serve people. If I can't get them in for 4,800, or let's say your minimum is 3,500, buyer behavior has changed. We have to analyze what's getting them in and what's not. I'm getting heated here. We got to take the blazer off. So why push against the edge if it's not working? So that is one of the biggest things we've done, is lowered our minimum, but in the end, it increased our average. And I got to shoot more people, which means more word of mouth. I've actually, I've still shot less sessions physically than what I had to do last year. So I have more free time. I only shoot Tuesdays and Fridays, which I have a whole slide on this for you guys. I have my stuff open to book up to 8 clients a month. I want to keep time for the background stuff, for the business and other phrases. Exactly. So part of what we're analyzing now is, how has your business evolved from when you first started and when you made these schedules and these commitments to where you are now, and where do you want your brand to go? So in 2024, I invite you to dream bigger, because I truly believe if you're in this industry, you're multi-passionate and you're multifaceted. You're not just a boudoir photographer to be a boudoir photographer. So many of us can be impactful on so many different areas. And I don't think you would be in this class. I don't think you would be attracted to my energy if you were in it for just the money or just to shoot boudoir clients. I think that's crazy. So I'd like to be shooting 6 to 8 clients a month. Outsource retouching, lowered my minimum, sounds enticing. I think your minimum's good, knowing your pricing. I mean, maybe you could play with the 1,500, but I feel like yours is good. So let's do some reflection. Answer these in the comments for me. What does your lifestyle and timeliness currently look like? We kind of covered that. So are you guys willing to, or do you want to shoot more next year? Is it a go, like balls to the wall type year, or is 2024 more of a refinement year? Let's identify that. 2024, are you balls to the wall, like shooting, doing, grinding, having fun with it? Or is this more of my version of 2022 where you actually increased your pricing, scaled back a little bit, and finessed it? And then also your second reflection question, your second workshop question, what's your buyer behavior pattern shown from 2023? Did it feel hard to book clients where you're currently priced at? And does it need readjusted, or did it feel really easy, like you were shooting too much and you'd like to increase? So let's just take a moment to look over that. I'm going to read into this. I want to shoot more, but trying to figure it out while working a day job. Yeah, Kim. So this is a great chance for you to reflect, to be like, okay, what are my day job hours and where do I want to see myself shooting? Balls to the wall is like my favorite. It's just the best way to explain that. Like I just like that. That's the terminology. I want to be booked between 4 to 8. It feels balls to the wall. I want balls to the wall. Balls to the wall in coaching, scaling back, and boudoir a bit twice a week. Joe, so I actually see your 2024 being very similar to my 2022 in terms of you're growing your coaching brand. You've got your giant event. You've got your courses coming out. So your boudoir can run itself. It's a well-oiled machine. Let it ride. Let it do its thing. Home with the kiddos during the day, currently working 2 days a week. I'll be increasing my shooting 1 day because my husband will be a stay-at-home dad. Hallelujah. We love a stay-at-home dad. Caleb's part stay-at-home dad, part studio manager, chaos coordinator for my brain. For reference, we have childcare 12 hours a week. So Monday, and I'll show you this on a different slide. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, we have a nanny from 9 to 1. The rest, we are full-time parents, and she's with us all of the time. So also recognizing what season of life you're in. I know that in 5 to 10 years from now, I'm not going to have a toddler because we're done. And she'll be grown and can fend for herself or be in school. So I might shoot more. We're in the energy of like, let's fund our retirement right now. So I'm willing to hustle. I'm willing to shoot more right now. Okay. So does that feel good? Does that make sense? Just really, and you guys can take time, obviously, before 2024, the rest of this month, to get nitty gritty into your pricing. This is the perfect time to reflect, to be like, okay, did things work this year? Does it feel like I want to change anything? Balls to the wall, but also finessing, which I'm doing over Christmas break. I love that. Shoot on Wednesdays and Fridays. Ooh, Hawaii. I raised my prices this year, so I think the initial hesitation on clients. So let's refine 4 to 6 sessions a week. Okay, we're all on different paths, and that's what I love. This is what I love. So pricing, strategic thing one, vibe into that, feel what you need to do, and actually take the time to look. Okay, what really did work? If I ran mini sessions, was it easier to get them in? Do they like that lower price point? Or was that attracting the wrong crowd? You know what I mean? So what I would do, honestly, after this is I would go through all of your sessions and run your hard numbers. What was your average? What did they book in for? Who were the really great, easy, soul nourishing clients, and who were the ones where it took a little more time or they gave you an edge? I had the most refund requests this year than I've ever had in business. I had a client request $6,000 collection be refunded. We had a couple $2,800 where they had paid in full. We've only had $1,200 in refunds this year, but I had $32,000 in requests. That is insane because that has never happened before. So strategically, what I did, this kind of goes into tomorrow's like CEO energy. I completely embodied the professional, authoritative, empathetic business owner, which again, I'll get into tomorrow. But I think it was 32,000 in refund requests, and we only ended up refunding 1,200. One of them was absolutely insane. I did not want to work with that person. I was like, here, bye. There were a few others where I think there was an accidental charge or some people just backing out. Lesson release type situation, but understanding, again, I'll get into this tomorrow, the buyer behavior of like people get cold feet because things are wishy-washy, and how to handle that and how to navigate that, and trusting yourself enough to know like There are so many different things I can do. A lot of people, we push back later in the year to navigate whatever's going through. The other thing is sticking to your cancellation policy. So if they wanted to cancel, okay, but you lose out on that money, and not being afraid to say that. What's the point of having terms and conditions if we're not going to stick to them? So I would also look back through, I've got it coming up in a different slide, but your policies and what needs switch. So let's dig into your schedule. Okay. Here is my current schedule. So I do work every day of the week, not weekends, but it's a very easy, flowy type schedule. So I am done by 1 p.m. at the latest, except for Wednesdays. I have the opportunity for a late consultation if somebody needs it for work. So Mondays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. These are what I call my office hours, my admin work, my creation. So do you guys have a schedule, or do you just kind of work on your business when it feels good? Because the biggest change in 2023 that we made is I implemented a schedule. I have never had a work schedule. Yeah, need a work schedule kind of whenever it feels good. No schedule, have to have a schedule, no schedule. And it sounds silly. When I made this slide, I was like, you sound so unprofessional right now. What do you mean 2023 is the first year you've had a work schedule? But it's true. I've always just like worked at night when Cece was in bed, or before I had her, I would just work throughout the day whenever the heck I wanted. I would be on my phone all day, answering emails, responding to clients, just whenever it felt good. Especially prior to becoming a parent, I had all day to do whatever the heck I wanted. So I'll just work all day. Or I'll just not work this day, not work this day, and then maybe work a little bit here and there. And two things happened. I was dilly-dallying. Who says that? I don't know. I was like wasting time working a little bit here, working a little bit here, and I felt like I was on my phone or computer all day long, but I was distracted. So the potency of the work was not that great. I truly believe that in our boudoir business, we don't have to be on our computers 8 hours a day. You guys, we don't have that much work. Unless we have an onslaught of clients and we have to do a lot of retouching, which outsource that stuff, you guys. Whatever it may be, I believe that we can get so much work done in a consolidated amount of time so that we don't feel like we're on our phone 24/7. I'm reading the chat. So in April of this year, April was the pivotal turning point for me. Let me give you an example in terms of numbers, because I feel like business owners are money motivated and sometimes that works. January was like a $26,000 month. February was like a $37,000 month. March, my husband's brother passed away unexpectedly at 27. So it was like a $20,000 month because we only worked for about a week and a half. We have not dipped below 50,000 since April. So at the beginning of the year, I had a $20,000 month. By November, we had a $100,000 month. So much can happen in a short amount of time. So whatever you're feeling right now, I don't want you to be like, oh, I'm just stuck, or I'm stagnant at like $17,000 months. I'm stagnant at like 20. I feel like I'm at a hump. Again, this goes into mindset tomorrow too. But strategically speaking, my work became so much more potent when I implemented a freaking schedule. Because I had to work. So let's read this. I just started saying 10 to 4, and that's even hard to stick to. No schedule. I'm super flaky with my schedule. I shoot Tuesdays and Thursdays. I have a schedule, no schedule for me. I plan out my days so I can be more organized as I can. That's what I'm doing. Working all day and night except between 5 and 8. I don't want to work today, and then I have a 10-hour day the next day. Procrastination. I'm the queen of procrastination. You guys, I made this workshop last night. It's in my brain, but putting things down on paper, I procrastinate. Every workshop, you can guarantee that it's 11 p.m. and I'm typing it into the Canva presentation. But that's something that I've always held on to. Even in college, I wrote a 20-page research paper the night before, cited everything. Crystal, I'm going to walk you through that schedule in just a second. So I think recognize what excites you I love a late night workshop energy, like excited, pouring into a workshop, getting things done. That honors my energy of like, I like staying up late. I make a favorite drink. Everybody else in the house is asleep. That's my moment. Versus, I'm not answering Dubsado emails at 11 p.m. I'm not trying to edit photos at 11 p.m. because I just didn't prioritize my time. There is a difference in energy in that. I feel like I'm not where you guys are. I'm $2,000 to $3,000 months is amazing. And I think what we don't recognize is a lot of us are there. We all start somewhere. If I had these cheat codes at 2 to 3,000 months, I probably would have had a multi six-figure year a heck of a lot sooner because I would have implemented this. That's why I'm doing this. Utilize what took me 10 years to figure out so you can do it quicker. Yeah, see? That's where I am. Boom. Okay, so Mondays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. For those of you running multiple different brands, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., that is Dubsado emails, that's interacting in my Facebook group, that's answering studio emails, and that's also doing any type of workshop like this, any behind the scenes training, any coaching call, any proximity calls. That is coaching and studio. So all of my trainings, all of my programs for both parts of the brand, all of my sessions are between 9 and 1. So this schedule is actually like two different brands in one. I wouldn't need that much time for just the studio. If I was only focusing on the studio, I could probably cut it in half. So anytime I have a training or a wardrobe consultation, those happen. Well, trainings are Monday, Thursdays, Wednesdays, the same thing. That is my creation time. So when I create a model call, when I create a Kiara Day sale, which is basically like my Black Friday that I run a different type of the year, all of that organizing, scheduling, planning, that creation, it's happened during these office hours. Now, what I don't do, and I think a lot of you could resonate. Who here is like a free spirit? You like to be flowy and you don't operate well with a schedule? That's me. I used to say like, "Hey, I'm not a 9 to 5er. I don't work corporate. You can't tell me when to work." Okay? That's what I use as an excuse. And I think recognizing that scaling your business requires dedication and commitment. It doesn't mean you're going to work a 9 to 5, but it does mean that you have to have a commitment to yourself. You have to have some structure to scale. And I think it's naive of us to believe that we can scale into $500,000 businesses without structure. Okay. And that might sound like tough love of like, no, I'm going to let the universe tell me when I'm inspired. Okay, yes, I love inspired action, which is exactly why I gave myself a schedule to get inspired. So I know that my space needs to be cleaned. I need to have a fun, festive drink. I need to have my desk organized prior to 9 o'clock because I will be distracted and I won't feel inspired. I go take a walk in the morning before I sit down so that I can ground into nature. I pull my cards or I journal or I do a breath work before my work block so that I can get into creation mode. Part of inspired action is recognizing the things that help you get inspired. Instead of just waiting for the universe to drop in a download, which I love a random download when I'm driving down the street. But in order to scale my business, I know that I need some type of structure. So I don't ever schedule in like you're going to edit from 9 to 10, you're going to respond to comments from 10 to 11. I just give myself that block. I give myself that block and I know, and somebody has asked me before, like, well, what if you don't do work during that time? What if you procrastinate? Or what if you just do it? Well, that's on me. Do I want to scale my business or not? It's kind of where you get to have that tough love and you get to embody that CEO energy versus that I run a successful business and it's easy. 2017 to 2022, I ran a successful business and it was easy. It was easy for me to get clients. It was easy for me to have 100K, 200K. I sat at $300,000 years for like 3 or 4 years. That was easy. But when I wanted to break 500,000, when I wanted to go for 700,000, when I want to hit $1 million in one financial year, it's going to require strategy to scale. And that doesn't take away from our free spiritedness, it just takes structure. So I think if we can not fear the structure, it's really going to help us. So let's see. I'd love to have 12 hours a week just to do business. I used to before my son, and now my time is more valuable. I need about 8 more hours of childcare, which is something I'm working towards in 2024. This is something that I really had to mindset wise work through last year when we didn't have well, up until June, we got a nanny. Is I had to stop comparing myself to the previous versions of me who could work 14 hours a day because I wasn't a mother. Or I had to stop comparing myself to the future version of me when I'll have a 10-year-old or an 11-year-old. Right now, I have a 2-year-old and they require much more attention. So, 2019 Kiera could spend all day at the studio, have so much fun, do whatever I wanted because nobody else relied on me. And I'm sure 2032 Kiera will have a lot more free time because I won't have a 2-year-old. So it's recognizing what we need to change year to year based on whatever season of life we're in. And I feel like we don't do that. I feel like we go into Facebook groups and we ask other photographers, hey, what's your guys' schedule look like? How many hours are you working? What days do you shoot? And it's like, cool, but Sally down the street does not have the same home life as you or the same brain as you. Our brains don't work the same. So basing your schedule off somebody else's is not going to do you any good. So I'm not showing you guys my schedule to say, hey, copy this. It's not going to work for you, but it's giving you the framework and the ability to have the awareness to say, okay, I do desire more structure. So yes, I work every day of the week, but I'm off by 2 p.m. unless I have a late consultation. I offer that on Wednesdays to my clients. Structure and a schedule saved my business. It allowed me to scale. Now I'm not on my phone all day, every day, half-assing my work. It's potent. It does require tough love. You just have to get to the point where you're like, I'm going to treat my business like a business and give it the time it deserves if I want to receive business money. You know what I mean? And that was something that I really didn't have that wake up call until this year. I was like, okay, I can do $300,000 in my sleep. I've done it for the last 3 years. I did it with a baby who didn't sleep. I did it while on maternity leave. I did it during COVID when we were shut down. Let's amplify things. And that's where the schedule came into play. All right, I was speaking ahead of my slide. So let me grab a drink. Is this resonating? Is this a little kick in the butt to somebody being like, hey, I need to implement some structure here? And maybe you're in a season of life where you don't have kiddos or they're grown and you've lived off structure for so long. Maybe 2024 is your let loose. Maybe you need to give yourself more freedom and more spaciousness because there will come a day when this schedule won't serve me and I'll need more free time. And it's having the ability to say, okay, I'm open to changing things up. So, yes, kick in the butt that I needed. I love that. Treat your business like a business. I feel like this has been my motto this month because I've worked with so many people and I'm like, well, what are we doing to serve this? What are we doing to get you to your goals? Oh, we're not doing those things. So just because I'm free flowy doesn't mean I can't operate under a schedule. It's holding myself accountability, or it's holding myself accountable. Accountability has been a game changer. I dropped my session days from Monday through Friday to only Tuesday and Friday. This is a little bit of mindset, which I'll get into tomorrow, but last year, I let people schedule any day, Monday through Friday. So it was quite literally impossible for me to give myself work hours because it would vary from week to week. I wouldn't know when I was going to have a schedule. So if I wanted to work on a Thursday or schedule a coaching call or schedule a creation day for the studio, I couldn't because I had a random session pop up. So really honing in on what days I shoot was a game changer. I felt so overwhelmed with home life and work until I made a schedule to have time for both. Absolutely. Treat it like a business is exactly what I haven't been doing. Okay, this is where we get to switch this. Everybody feels you, Courtney. You're not alone in that. So after dedicating a schedule, I noticed my productivity skyrocketed because that was the time that I had to work. And I don't allow myself to do it later. Like I enjoy my free time. I need time to get out of work mode and into wife mode, or get out of motherhood role and into just Kiera. I want to sit on the couch and do nothing some nights. But if I have a model call that needs scheduled out because I blew off my work block, it was just really fucking with the flow of everything. So, I was getting more done in less time. Like I said, I wasn't on my phone all day, every day anymore. I actually have a lot of offline time, which feels really nourishing. Implementing regular hours, I was being rewarded with a higher income because dedication and motivation was potent, alive, and consistent. It makes sense, right? I mean, it makes sense. When you treat your business like a business, you're going to get paid business money. So I know entrepreneur world, we talk a lot of crap about the corporate 9 to 5, but there are bits and pieces that I love. I love the structure that they have because those 9 to 5 people can drop their business immediately. Like their mind plucks off and they're like, okay, I'm done thinking about work. That's not my job. And I think it would be really important for some of us to try to unhook our brain from business at night. It's really hard. Sometimes Caleb and I will be trying to have like a moment and I'm like, did I respond to that inquiry? Wait, stop. He's trying to take your clothes off. What are you doing? But wait, I have an idea. And that was a wake up call. I was like, you gotta figure something out. Or if I'm playing with Cece and it's like, oh, wait, what about that model call? What about that client who wanted a refund request? It's like, no, give yourself time, log off, delete the Gmail off your phone, consistency. All right, so let's do some reflection. Where can you guys implement a schedule? What feels hard about a schedule? Is there anybody right now who's like, that doesn't feel great? And what parts of your work time need adjusted before 2024? So that's what I invite you to kind of reflect on right now. Not gonna lie, that's how I feel not having a Facebook app on my phone anymore. I put timers on all my social medias. Last year, I deleted all of the apps off my phone. It was a great refresher. Yes, that is me. That was literally my mindset when trying to implement new work schedule. If I was back at my corporate job, I would clock out and not worry about it until the end of the day. Absolutely. And I think that's where we can harness some of that energy into like, all right, at 2 o'clock, I'm done for work. Will I probably go back later that night and do some work? Yes, because that's my fun creation zone. But it's not that I'm distracted at 3, 4, 5, 6, trying to get my kid dinner and being like, but is my business exploding because I haven't worked on it today? I'm telling you, a schedule was massive. 2 times a week in boudoir, fitting other coaching stuff in, and having a nanny. Yep. Discipline to start is the hardest part for me. I think what I realized, the discipline part is for me, I wanted the growth. I wanted the free time, but I wanted the monetary growth. And I recognized that since I was like at that standstill, not ungrateful, obviously very grateful for $300,000 years in a row, but I wasn't moving the needle up. It would grow like a couple thousand. I think one year we had like 307, then we had 3010, and it was like, where's that leap? And it really took me to zoom out of what's the end game here? What's that big blow your mind goal? All right, I would rather be disciplined now so I can enjoy myself later in life. Our neighbor across the street is a multimillionaire. He's 83. They didn't start reaping those rewards until they were in their 60s. Like, I'm trying to enjoy life in my late 30s, in my 40s, in my 50s. Like, I want to set myself up for success now so that it's not the American dream where you work yourself to the bone all your life until you can retire for a couple years. Only thing I hate is when inquiries inquire and I'm outside of business hours. I want to immediately respond. So I have an automatic responder set up. I actually moved my business to all online booking, which I'm not, I'll walk you guys through that. I'm not saying do that, but I had something set up so that when I was doing consult calls, it would just automatically go to them. Need to restructure my schedule. It is socially acceptable that we're just supposed to work 24/7 because that's like the hustle culture. And I think this is like our line in the sand. We get to say, no, we can do it our way and we don't have to be addicted. So let's refresh so far. What did we change? We looked at pricing, which was a very significant strategic thing. Pricing in conjunction with what season of life you're in. and then also scheduling in conjunction with what season of life you're in. So if 2024 is a year of growth and scalability, let's do it. If 2024 is a year of flow and ease, maybe you're throwing your schedule out the window. All right, who wants to get into the policies of the studio? This excites me, okay? And again, when I wrote these down, I was like, ma'am, you weren't doing this all these years. I wrote these down, I was like, ma'am, you weren't doing this. There's my voice. Okay. What I did, there were a couple things. So back in April, I took 3 weeks off. Caleb and I went through our entire workflow. We went through everything, changed the pricing, changed the workflows, changed just the organizational stuff that had been like kind of working for years past, but I knew if we wanted to scale, we really had to nail things down. So who in here has some type of policy on like prepayment plans of when your client should be paid by in conjunction with their date? Like yes, no. For example, mine for the last 3 years, they had to have their prepayment plan paid in full prior to 30 days before their session date. Now, what would happen is I had no terms and conditions about when they had to start their session date or start their prepayment plan. They just had up until 30 days before to have it paid off. And last year, even earlier in the year, what I noticed is we would have somebody book in January for a session in July, and they would have up until June to pay it off, right? Because they have up until 30 days before. Well, January would pass, February would pass, March would pass, April would pass. They still have time to make their payments. Magically, May rolls around, their payment is due in June, and they'd be like, oh, I can't afford it anymore. Sorry. And I'm more than 30 days prior, so you can't charge me a cancellation fee or whatever. And there was this weird middle ground of they had booked in and they booked in months in advance so that they could prepay, but they weren't starting the prepay because I just left it open and then they were canceling. So something that I did this year, which I told myself last year that I was doing, but I never implemented it, is I have an email now that goes out 5 days after booking that asks them to select their collection. And they normally respond within a couple of days of getting that. And then I have an email that I respond with that says, yay, so excited you chose the Indulge collection, which is 4,800. That's our goal. Here's what your payments look like monthly, bi-weekly, and weekly. And I send that to them. And they get a little tag in Dubsado that says needs prepayment plan started. You guys, I was not using tags. There was no filtering system. I was simply just kind of remembering what client booked what. I was like, oh, Sarah's on the Indulge. Ashley wants the Gem. Cool. Jessica wants, the Taste collection. That's not going to work. If I wanted to scale my business, there's no way. And especially with a toddler, like I wasn't remembering who chose what. And people were falling through the cracks. Who feels like they need a stronger system? Do you guys have a great system that works really well? Do you feel like it's wishy-washy? It's like I had a system, but I wasn't really using it, okay? I wasn't holding myself accountable. So in April, I implemented this 30-day notice. And if you're part of the 12 days of giving giveaway that I did this month, that email that I sent out last week was the cancellation email. If they have not started their prepayment plan within 30 days of booking, they are canceled and they get charged a cancellation fee. So no longer do we have these weird in-between wishy-washies where they booked 6 months in advance, but 3 months out they cancel because they haven't paid. They lost the money or whatever. So that right there was such a good enforcer to develop. One, I created a filter for it in Dubsado or a tag so that I had a way to review who was who. And guess what, you guys? I kind of had that filter last year, but I didn't utilize it. Why didn't I utilize it? Because I didn't have a dedicated time to sit down and check Dubsado filters. Now I have the schedule, which gives me a dedicated time to sit through, go through my CRM and say, who needs what? It's basically my corporate checklist that I would do if I would sit down for an office job. And for me, being a creative left brain signed person, it was so hard for me to remember to go check Dubsado or to go follow up. And now that I have a flow, now that I have reminders, people are not canceling because I'm just going to cancel you if you can't follow directions. They know all of this leading up. It's not like I'm some meanie being like, oh, surprise, you didn't pay me. All right, let me read these comments. Okay. I want to start prepayment plans. I currently only have post-payment plans and I'm tired of chasing people. Immediately. Immediately. If that's the one thing you change this year, you are not a bank. You don't have to chase people. I would either like one of my new private clients, she's been in Proxability a bunch of times. She doesn't require prepayment plans and her business is great. So I'm not here saying you have to require prepayment plans or anything, but I would just say like you're either this is an energetic thing. We're okay with the option of we're probably going to have to chase people, or, we step into that CEO energy of like, okay, I'm done with this. This can be your moment of like anchoring into, I'm not going to chase anymore. Let's see. I feel like I'm 75% there. I need to get better with making them set it up in the first 30 days. It needs to be stronger. Some areas need work. Feel like my systems need to be stronger. Yes, I'm not holding myself accountable. Systems be stronger. I feel like it works for some clients better than others. Prepayments, rescheduling. I don't require prepayments either, but I definitely think I want to change that. It's hit and miss. I'm not here to tell you like you have to. It works fabulously for my business. We have way less cancellations, obviously, and I just don't want to work and have the chance of not being paid. Energetically, I'm just not available to not be paid for my work. Absolutely not. Can't do it, won't do it. I wouldn't go to a corporate job if they weren't paying me. If they were like, hey, come show up and I'll pay you in a couple months, no way. So I think you can lean into that like corporate energy of like they pay their employees, I deserve to be paid too. So the 30-day notice for prepayment plans was huge. One, I have a reminder for myself. I'm not letting it linger. 5 days out, I'm immediately asking them what collection they want. Then they're getting a response. If they don't answer, they get a text message from our business line. They get that email. And then on day 25, so 25 days up until their 30-day notice, they get that email that I sent out for the 12 days of giving that says, listen, you will be canceled in 5 days and you will be charged the $500. This goes into box number 2. I simplified my cancellation fees. How many of you have a tiered cancellation right now where it's like, if you cancel within 30 days, it's this amount. If you cancel within 14 days, it's this amount. If you cancel within the first week or you no-show, it's this amount. Joe changed this. I know we worked on mine. Me. I was confused by my own cancellation fees, you guys, because, sorry, the sun is moving. I'm readjusting. When somebody would go to cancel or reschedule, I'd have to go back into their contract and do the math and be like, okay, how many days out are you? What have you prepaid? And then I just I wouldn't charge them any cancellation fee because I was so confused that the contract wording was confusing. And then if they paid a discounted session fee and owed the remaining balance, it was so many steps that if it is confusing you, it's going to confuse your client. And instead of trying to figure that out, I was just like, whatever, I'll cancel you. So then the universe is like, well, ma'am, you're not upholding your commitments. What's the point of having terms and conditions if you're not going to keep them? So I was like, all right, stop. This is ridiculous. I have a very simple cancellation policy now, and this is something we implemented this year. Yes, I've had to charge it a few times, and I charged it because I knew exactly what it was. I knew it was laid out easily. Nobody could say, oh, well, I was confused by that when I signed up. It's $500, no matter when you cancel. Now, the caveat here is nobody's going to cancel after 30 days because they've already prepaid or they're on a prepayment plan. And according to my contract, any monies you've paid, you can't get back. Now, could they? Because Indiana law, technically, yeah, but nobody's tried to push it yet. I'm able to work with them and push them back to a later date to lower their payments or whatever. But if they cancel within that first 30 days, $500 fee. I do have a no show, no call. If they don't show up and they don't call, it's a $1,500 charge. But I've never had anybody do that because they've already prepaid for their minimum collection. They've already at least paid $1,500 unless it's an emergency. Obviously, I'm human. I'm going to work with you. So let's read this. All right. Yes to cancellation because I bought the cancellation forms from an educator and never felt like it quite jived for me. I can't remember all the tiers and steps. That's what I was taught. When I first started, I think 9 years ago, it was like, do the tiers with the timeline, with the calendar, and it was just confusing to me. It was more steps than needed. I just went with a flat rate of like, if you cancel, $500. Easy. I have a cancellation fee, but I've never implemented it. Okay, Heather. I know Heather's newer to our world, but she's in Prox next round. So yay, welcome, Heather. Something that I will repeat until the day I die is, why would the universe give us more if we don't honor the commitments that we have right now? So what's the point of having terms and conditions if we're not going to enforce them? Why would we receive more clients if we're not even fulfilling our duties to the ones that we have right now? So the universe is kind of like, why am I going to send you another client to sign another contract when it's just going to stress out your nervous system again because you're bitter, because they cancel, because you don't enforce your own policies? It's like this circle, this cycle. I did the same, Ria. Yeah, it was just easier for me to go flat rate. Good reframe, very true. It's something I embody this in all aspects of my life now. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you know I do the little Instagram stories that are like, every time I work out, I make money. That's my mantra. It truly works. And it's something I went late last night. It's like, why would I not go and work out and expect to, one, feel better, feel healthier, feel more, loving towards my body? It's something that works for me. Why would I expect more to go make more money if I wasn't, honoring the commitments to self that I had? So it's a good thing to embody in all areas of life. I'm reading our comments. Ooh, in my trust era. I love that. Let's see, what else do we have? Same. We're all on the same pages. So I know this conversation is a little boring because it's more strategical stuff like the 30-day notice, the cancellation fees, but I think it's really important. Another thing that I switched to is I dropped down to a 2-outfit minimum. So when I lowered my investment, I have always been a 3-outfit included in your session girly. Like, from the beginning of our business in 2015, when we did boudoir sessions, even the little mini sessions I used to do, 3-outfit minimum. I need the variety. I have to have enough to sell them on. Nope. I trust myself enough to know that I can get 50 images and 2 outfits. So this was a new policy, which in turn helped my upgrades, helped them bump up to the next collection. Because when I do a wardrobe consultation with people, I am putting them in like 6 to 8 outfits. So on average, they find between 3 to 5 favorite outfits. So dropping that lowest collection down to 2 outfits was amazing. Making notes to change my cancellation fee to a flat rate. I love that. It's so simple. Ria loves this call. Not boring. Okay, see, this is like my nerdy brain. I love the strategy part of it. Tomorrow's mindset one is really good too. And that's why this had to be a 2-day experience. Caleb just left. He went to go pick up Cece from the nanny. I said, oh, I don't even know if today's call is going to be an hour long. No, we're over an hour because there's lots of goodness here. All right. So those were the main policies. Biggest one being I stepped the heck into my authoritation with those emails of the cancellation policies. You start your prepayment plan or you're canceled. And I do not feel guilty about this at all because it's outlined everywhere before they even sign up. So there's that. All right. Do you see this really technical graph over here? This graph is something that Canva had on the template, and it means absolutely nothing except this is the rate my sanity grew when I implemented all of this outsourcing. So everything went up in terms of like feeling refreshed, feeling nourished. I didn't have anything to actually chart in there other than my free time went up. In all honesty, my creation time. I had more time to create model calls. I had more time to be in my business because I was not doing the outsourcing. So, in my boudoir group, Caleb does all of my scheduling. So, if you have a social media person, outsource that. He does all of my scheduling. I do all of the captions, all of the subconscious marketing stuff. So what he does is he goes into Pixieset for me. He has the list of names, who is a full release, who is anonymous. He schedules all the posts, and then I can go in and caption them because I recognize that even just collecting all of the images that I wanted to share was so time consuming to me that it was dragging me down. And then it was like, okay, gather all the images, figure out who's a release, then go create all the captions. So he schedules all of the posts for me, and he'll put like little fun, short, cutesy comment or captions in there, but I can go in and do the big, long, subconscious, like pre-educating captions. Okay. So that was huge. I outsourced that. We fully outsourced retouching to him this year. He does all of my editing. So I shoot the session, I import a preset on Lightroom, and then I export, and he does all of the portraiture, all of the frequency separation, all of the getting the outlets out, fixing all the stuff. That has been a game changer. So I want you guys to go through your business in your mind right now. What can you outsource? He does all of the album orderings for me. Mind you, there was a transition phase. So in 2022, that was our refinement year. I was teaching him all of this. So I taught him how to retouch. I taught him how to go into Dubsado and send all of the wardrobe consultation reminders. So he's the one sending out, like, hey, you have a wardrobe consultation next week. Hey, don't forget this. He sets up all of the album orders and shipping. He does all of my packaging. He takes all of the photos of the album because I post photos in my group of like, oh, here's another Indulge album going out, so that it's a pre-education. So everybody is subconsciously trained to buy the Indulge because that's all they see. And then he does all of my social media. So if you guys are in my Facebook group and you see all of these responses that is like, oh girl, you slay, like, ooh, I loved your session. That is him. That is not me. Sometimes it's me when I have time, but the majority of it, he does my hyperaction for me because, again, I would be sitting on my phone all day long. So let's read these comments. I'm so excited to have my retouching outsourced. It's been a week and it's just hitting me that I'm not responsible for it, and everything feels so much more flow already. I love that for you. And honestly, it was something that I clung on to of like, no, I'm the artist. I have to do the retouching. I don't trust anybody else. And then I realized, like, okay, if I want to scale my business, I have to be okay with delegation. I have to be okay. Same thing with connecting to my clients, handing over my social media. There was a part of me that was like, that's not fair. It's not me connecting. I'm still the one making all of the groundbreaking subconscious marketing, like true moments. If there is a testimony, if somebody is like genuinely has a question, it's still all me. Now, if it's the fluffy, like, oh, I love this photo, then he comes in and he says, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Is this the type of outfit you would wear for your session? I have trained him to ask a question to the fluffy responses of like, slay girl, so that they respond and then they start thinking about a session. It's the whole hyperaction training and behind the scenes. So that type of stuff, I'm totally okay with outsourcing. I still have time now because I'm not answering the mundane fluff. I have more inspiration to go in and answer the moving. I can't wait to hire for social media because I'm so over it. Before I had Caleb, I did have a local girl here. I only paid her $200 a month because that's what she wanted. She was definitely undercharging herself. $200 a month, and she did it. But yes, cannot wait to train my husband for this. If there are any, I know there's actually quite a few of you with stay-at-home partners or dads or moms that want to start coming into the business. Social media was a great way that I started. Love it. Ooh, good idea. Yeah. So these are all of the things that I specifically outsourced in 2023 that I was not doing in 2022. I was training for this in 2022. So remind yourself there is a refinement period. I didn't just throw it on him. What else do we have? All right, messaging. February of 2023, we went full organic marketing, which means I stopped doing the fluff. I don't post memes. I don't have the 20 posts a day scheduled. I stopped doing this or that. Occasionally, I'll still throw up a this or that that's like color black and white of my work, but I don't do like, do you want cheeseburgers or chicken tenders? Like the fluffy stuff. It worked really great in 2017 when the algorithms were different and when boudoir groups were different. But buyer behavior has changed and people are used to stuff on Facebook and my audience stopped responding. So I asked myself, what do I want to sell? Boudoir sessions. So what am I going to show? Boudoir sessions. So in February, I took away all of the games, all of the memes, and I only post pictures of my work and real life relatable content that has nothing to do with boudoir, but has everything to do with me because I am a personal brand. Most boudoir photographers are. Now, I'm not saying ditch all of the engagement stuff. If it works for you, that's perfect. But just have an awareness moment of like, if you're posting 20 games a day, does your actual boudoir work and messaging match that? Or is it getting drowned out? So that's fine if you want to keep the interaction and stuff, but you have to make sure you're matching that energy of fluff with that energy of potency. Does that make sense? I have clients who still post engagement stuff, but we've worked on raising the bar of their actual selling because you're getting drowned out. Literally killed me doing 20 posts a day. I was so burnt out and it just wasn't responding. It was getting lost. So a way to measure this is go to your Facebook group if you guys have one and grab your phone and count how many thumb scrolls it takes to find a picture of your work. So if you go to your Facebook group, count 1, 2. Okay, cool. You found a picture of your work on 2. Amazing. If it takes you 23 scrolls to find a picture of your group or a picture of your work, no wonder people aren't booking with you because they don't even realize it's a boudoir page. Okay. Joe said doing that was life-changing for me. 0 thumb scrolls. Perfect. That's what I do. It's not what I wanted for my group. Exactly. So something massive I changed was messaging, completely ditched that. Voice activation. I am the most unfiltered version of myself online this year than I have ever. I don't sugarcoat things. I talk about my investment. I have a post scheduled today that literally says, and no heat to anybody who uses this, but I told my group, I said, if I was looking for a boudoir photographer, I would not reach out to the boudoir photographer who says, I'm going to pose you from head to toe and help you unleash the fiery queen goddess inside of you. Because holy shit, I would hope that if I was paying you thousands of dollars, that you would pose me from head to toe. And I'm sorry, but I do not relate to unleashing the fiery goddess inside. I want you to tell me that you can come in with your stained shirt and your sleep deprived self, and you will feel like that badass version of you when you got that first hookup with a hot guy or whatever. Like, give me something else. I think the one that I shared in the email this week was like, I'm going to make you feel as hot as you feel with that Snapchat filter on. You know, that favorite Snapchat filter that you go to that just makes you feel like, oh, she's good. Like, that's the type of messaging I used in my group because I counted like 6 reels this week on Instagram that was like the boudoir photographer in their studio, and they were like, come to XYZ boudoir because we pose you from head to toe. And that's what they were using to sell their $3,000 sessions. And it's to the point where we're like, you guys, of course I'm going to pose you from head to toe. We need to bring something of substance to your audience. If we want these high caliber clients who pay lots of high dollars, let's give them something to work on. Give them something to read. Okay, I'm reading. I need to post more in my group. Some days it's 6 scrolls, other it's 4, 3 scrolls. I last posted in May though. Oh my gosh. Okay, we can work on that. Consistency is key. I always say from head to toe. I always say from head to toe. How do you tell them that you post them without saying that? Okay, so here's the question. Where are we doubting our audience? Where do we not trust that they know they're going to be post? It's part of our pre-education. So when you say you're a full service boudoir session, I would even throw it in with sarcasm of like, of course I'm going to pose you. You're spending thousands of dollars. I don't expect you to show up and know what to do. Versus if you want to say that, if you want to say using it as like a perk of like, I pose you from head to toe, bring it in with something else. Our basic necessities of like, I'm going to make you feel like a queen. I'm going to pose you from head to toe shouldn't be our only thing that we're selling with because that's going to land flat. So what else are you going to do for them? How else are you going to impact them? How can you put it in a more relatable way to where they're going to resonate and not feel like, because in this season of my life, I don't feel like an inspired goddess spreading her wings full of radiance and joy. I want to feel like a hot ass mom who's getting her groove back, just being wild and free. And like, tell me that. Tell me you're going to make me feel so crazy and wild and like back to myself outside of, whatever. Or my favorite is speaking to teachers right now. So it's like, listen, I know your students have been insane. I recognize that it's Christmas break. They're thinking of stockings, they're talking about Santa, and you're just trying to make it through the lesson plans. Lucky for you, I have a last minute opening on December 17th, whatever day you want it. Finish up your like end of year wrap up. Come let your inner freak fly so that you can come back on January 8th and be the squeaky clean good girl teacher that you are after refreshing yourself with a fiery, wild boudoir session. Instead of just saying, I'm going to make you feel like the beautiful goddess that you are, the queen. I'm going to pose you from head to toe. Like it's the same boudoir jargon all of the time. So yeah, my messaging got very unfiltered and like powerful and not afraid to say something different, even though nobody else was saying it. And then I went, surprise, here's the big one. I went fully online booking. We took 3 weeks off in April. We revamped all of our pricing workflows. It was a lot of work, totally necessary. I am not telling you to go fully online booking because it was not the strategics of online booking that gave me the growth. And I'll walk you through this tomorrow. It was the mindset that I had to get behind the online booking that created this. I don't do any consult calls anymore, but I did for 8.5 years and it saved my business. So you have to recognize what season of business you're in. So for me, it wasn't even the change of going to online booking. It was recognizing that the flow of my business in order to scale, it had to shift. So it was the believability that I built around my clients being able to book online and paying my prices, and also the change in and of itself. So there are so many facets into switching to online booking. I did a behind the scenes training on this in the group actually, where it breaks down like yes, no, when, should, how do you know if you should do consult calls or online booking. So I want you to grasp onto this right now. It's nothing against phone calls and it's nothing for online booking. But for me, I just didn't have the time of day to do calls anymore. So I had to build up the mindset and the structure and the flow and the verbiage of the online booking inquiry to build the self-trust that yes, I can still sell $4,800 boudoir sessions. So I hate, double hate, loathe entirely calls. I did too. They took up so much time. I hated them. People wouldn't call even if or they wouldn't answer, even if I put like a reminder. It wasted so much of my time. This year was the breaking point. I was like, why couldn't I just do this online? What happened is we got 90 applications in May for that model call. Full disclosure, that's insane. I am not one of those boudoir photographers that post in the group that's like, I booked 47 sessions on this model call. No. If I book like 4 to 5 sessions for one model call, I'm very excited. Like, that's a success to me. So I don't want you guys to compare yourselves and be like, the reason we got 90 applications is because I called it the holy shit, Kiara lowered her prices model call. And I use that at everyone tag. So I've got 8,000 people in my group. And this was in May before you could turn it off. So a lot of people like applied, and there was no way I could do that many consult calls. So it was like a force moment of the universe is like, you're going to scale your business and you're going to shift your strategy of how you book people, or you're going to burn yourself out to the depths by doing calls for a month and a half. And I just didn't have time. So it was almost a force come to shove moment of recognizing when we need to shift and when we need to change because of the scalability. I'm fully online and it's great. I love it. I think that's why it really wasn't beneficial when I tried to do them because my energy was trash. Absolutely. There have been so many times when I dread getting on a call. And then, of course, I manifested them not answering. And then I would be salty that they canceled and I didn't get the booking. Well, no shit, Kiara. You didn't want to do the call in the first place. So it makes sense when you think about it. So I'll dig more into the energetics of how I hyped myself up to get into online booking tomorrow. But that was a big, big change in my business and really allowing myself to be okay with like, wow, the boudoir studio looks really different now. The way I do things, how I book clients. I don't even call them anymore, but it's been so good. And then last slide, I did a full studio remodel. Oh, we had a tornado come through and a tree fell down and it almost smashed our house and we couldn't live in our house for 9 days. We were out without power for 15 days in June. It was a whole thing. It was the first giant round of Proxability. We had 20 people in the mastermind. I didn't have a house. We had to live at the studio, which made me hate the studio. So we installed all new flooring, repainted everything in 4 days before our session. We remodeled our neon room this year and we redid our luxe closet. So the quick version of this, because I'm not telling you to go redo your studio, but I am telling you what strategically needs to be done for you to fall back in love with your shoot space. Because I was not loving my shoot space, so I wasn't excited to book clients. So recognize, like, are you actually inspired to do this or are you just doing it for the money? If you're just doing it for the money, you're not going to book clients like you could be. So the Luxe Closet, I decided to get one of our bonuses is a name brand closet. We have like Louis Vuitton's, Jimmy Choo's, Honey Birdette, Agent Provocateur, a bunch of high-end outfits, and immediately people are like, oh, well, my clients didn't want that. Neither did mine. I'm located in Indiana. It's a bunch of like country, I mean this with love, redneck clients. Like I have a bunch of like country moms and they don't care about fancy things, but I do. So I pre-educated them. Pre-education is key. And I know I talk about this a lot, but I hyped it up in the group. I showed pictures of the Luxe Closet. I talked about how, you may feel burnt out in your day-to-day life, but when you get to step into those red bottom shoes, you get to have your moment to escape reality. Same with the neon room. It's not that my clients are like utterly obsessed with neon boudoir. It's because that's what I love and I pre-educate them on that. And it took a lot of strategy pre-educating. It took a lot of strategy to say, okay, I want to make all of these big changes so that I can be fulfilled creatively, but I had to bring my audience on board. So I invite you guys to consider like what needs changed in your shoot space? What needs changed in your artistry? Maybe it's your editing, maybe it's how you pose clients. So that's like the mindset creative part of it. But then how are you strategically going to get your audience on board with this change? So I was hyping up the neon room. We were talking about it, showing behind the scenes. Same with the Luxe Closet. They will care about what you care about. My clients don't care about albums, but they do because I tell them this is the one that everybody goes with and it's normal. So when I tell everybody that the neon room and the Luxe Closet are our most popular bonuses and they create the best images and they see that post multiple times a week in my feeds, they're going to go with it. So you get to pre-educate what you want to shoot. All right, 90% are good with online. Do optional calls? Do people still ask for consult calls? I haven't had anybody ask. Well, I lied. So since I switched in May to online booking, I've had 2 people ask for a phone call, and then they didn't show up to the phone call. So it was like, okay, you weren't serious anyways. Like, that's fine. If they want one, I'll totally offer them one. But normally they don't, because the way I have it set up, they get all of the information beforehand. So does anybody feel like there's anything in their shoot space that they would want to reconsider? Or does anybody feel stale or stagnant in their studio? Lexi's like, yes, absolutely. That's something I would look into for 2024, is revamping your space, your creativity, your workflow. If you feel stagnant in your poses, I invite you to start your session backwards, because I used to start on the bed, and then I starting on the floor in my wood floor room, and it completely invigorated me, and I saw my space in a totally different light, just because I started in a different spot. So, holy moly, that was long. And here I was thinking that today would be the shorter one. Tomorrow is day 2. Thanks for listening to all that. So let's do a revamp. Pricing, strategically pricing. Go check your pricing. Recognize what season of life you're in. Recognize what needs changed. Please, please, please implement some type of schedule, or implement a flow if you've been too scheduled. Treat it like a business if you want business money. What policies, what cancellation fees, what needs adjusted, what systems do you need in place to make it flow? What are we outsourcing? What is your messaging? How are you speaking and showing up to your clients? How does your booking strategy need to look if you're changing it? And then what creatively do you need to change in order to scale? Okay, thank you for sharing. We appreciate you. Grateful as fuck for you. Oh my gosh. Okay, you guys. So going into this last night, I was like, did I really change that much in 2023? Like, why did we have such exponential growth? Oh yeah, we changed a lot. So yes, the brands were about split evenly, half and half, but I wouldn't have been able to make that additional 300,000 for the mentorship part of the brand had I not made these changes to the studio, because I would have been shooting all day, every day. So if your ego is trying to be like, yeah, but you didn't bring in 600K from the studio, of course not. That was the point. I do not want to, and this isn't me like blocking a manifestation or anything. Like, I don't want to be shooting until I'm 55. Like, I want to be hands off. I want to have other branches built so that I can serve and impact in other ways. So really look at strategically, like, which things need shifted, what areas do you want to do? So marinate on this today, because tomorrow we're going to come back and we're going to do the mindset, and we're going to dig into what, like, there's children. So what COCK thoughts were blocking me that day? Like, where did I get in my head that didn't let me grow last year? Because some of these things have been in my brain for years, and I couldn't do that. So I'm going to walk you through how I released them, what like money mindset things came up, what like, oh my gosh, how dare you? Who do you think you are? Thoughts, and all of the mindset beliefs that I had to secure in order to go bigger. So replay is in the Facebook group. If you don't know where the Facebook group is, I sent it out in an email. Same time tomorrow, noon Eastern. This is a lifetime replay, so you guys can watch this as many times as you want if you need a refresher, or if you just want to go through the Facebook replay and like pause it and look at the slides and take notes. Do we feel good for today? Do we have new strategy ideas? Yes? Amazing. Okay. It's up. It's already posted in the replay. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. If you have questions, feel free to drop them in the group. And otherwise, I'll meet you back here tomorrow. Bye. Thank you, guys.